segue into the Rodri. Now, Rodri got. I was hearing funny details on this Rodri thing, saying there was a time he had a conversation with Pep about complaining concerning him featuring in mostly all games, and cynics and naysayers, these conspiracy theories you see online. I saw something saying he intentionally did that because he needed rest, because virtually he has been played in every competition. I don't know what that guy was. I don't know what he was trying to say. I've forgotten his name, but I saw it. But look at it. The incident that happened between him and Gibbs White. Did it get to the extent of him having to choke him? And he knows once your hand is on the player, to the extent of choking a player, that's a red card offense. And now he misses 3 games. Now, the 2 games Man City had played after that red card, which is Newcastle in the EFL Cup, I don't know if Rodri would have started that. And also, Wolves in the EPL. They've lost those games. Starting with you, Deepo. Does this mean no Rodri, no City?
Okay, so like I said, I'll reiterate again. Like I said, for me, Rodri was Manchester City's player of the season last season. I don't want to know how you want to put it. Yeah, he didn't score as many goals. Good one came in late to steal the show and the legs. But without Rodri, I don't think they'll take. You need a man of steel, basically. Roy Keane, Patrick Vieira kind of player in your team. That even if you are not playing well, other players will fear. And Rodri had that factor. He basically is the man. It might be coincidence that okay, maybe because he's out, that's why they are losing or whatever. But I think his position in that team will probably be the first name on Guardiola's team sheet ahead of even Ederson and Haaland. If you ask me, because a guy can play, he can mark, he weighs in with the occasional goals. He's won games with his goals. And that's taking he's gotten a record and he's missed 2 games where the team, like you mentioned, have struggled. Even after the Nottingham Forest game, after he was taken out, it was as early as the first minute of the second half, and it was obvious that okay, there are no markers in that team anymore. He lost to Newcastle, he lost to Wolverhampton Wanderers too, back-to-back losses for City, which is you barely heard that under Guardiola, losing back-to-back games. So Rodri out, no City, man. In my opinion, no City. I think it's quite obvious. It's obvious, and it's shown over these last 2 games, like you mentioned already. So I think I don't know. It's hard to find someone to Kovacic can't do that job. Yeah, he might bring his own unique style to the team. Matthias, what's his name? Matthias, the guy that came in for Wolverhampton. Nunes can't replace him. Those guys can play along with him, but they still need the man of steel in that central part of midfield to ensure that no ball goes past or goes through to the defense or through to the goalkeeper. So yeah, City might be in a bit of trouble, particularly when they face Arsenal next weekend. But we know Arsenal too. At times you expect Arsenal to step up and show and command games, and
especially at home. If the game was at Etihad, possibly I'll be confident.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
At the Emirates, it's been shaky this season, man.
At Emirates, yeah. This season it hasn't been great at the Emirates, particularly. And not that it hasn't been great at the Emirates, particularly for Arsenal, but because the kind of ways they drop points. Like for the Fulham game, it was a 10-man Fulham squad that they dropped points against. Then against Tottenham, I don't think if Tottenham had equalized at 1-1 when Arsenal made it 2-1, I don't think they should have allowed Tottenham to equalize as quickly as that. And from then, it was obvious that we can also blame the tinkering of Arteta on the Fulham draw. I think that was where he was trying to bring Saliba and use. I can't remember. I think Saliba didn't play that game. I think. But
no, it was Gabriel.
Gabriel, not Saliba. Gabriel, yeah. I knew one of his solid defenders didn't play that game, and it was obvious that it was tinkering. Yeah, good managers Anyways, the team that has
Like a
depth that
tinker.
can actually play
Yeah.
that can tinker. So yeah, Guardiola does not have depth in that Rodri role, as far as I'm concerned. I don't know if he has players that claim to play that role, but Rodri is the man, or has been the man for sitting in that position. Yeah. So no City, no Rodri, no City, basically, from my own end.
Joe Maka, let me push this to you. Okay, don't worry, I'm coming for you. This will be in the light of the Arsenal game coming up over the weekend. Chimamaka, is this not, English media comes with a narrative. They come with a narrative. They come with, when they want to hit a player, when they want to go for you. A typical example, the Ramsdale Raya situation happening at Arsenal. When Ramsdale goes to the Three Lions, he deputizes for the Everton goalkeeper. The English media didn't say nothing because if you look at it face value, Ramsdale, the club he represents, Arsenal, are doing well and is better in terms of statistics wise over the Everton goalkeeper. I don't know why his name is failing me, but now there's a certain player in Man City that was
Pickford.
Pickford. Sorry, Pickford. That's the Everton goalkeeper.
Pickford.
There's a certain midfielder in Man City that was purchased for a certain amount of money to play in that role. Rodri is supposed to, or Rodri plays as well. Exactly.
Kevin Phillips.
Exactly. So now we're talking no Rodri, no Rodri, no City. So now the Rodri is injured, not injured, suspended. Is this not the time for Calvin Phillips to step up and shine? Even yesterday, he didn't start against Wolves. So is this not supposed to be like a light being shone on Calvin Phillips to say now you take responsibility, now Rodri is not there? Like Dikko said, it seems no Rodri, no City. What's your own take?
Well, this question is actually a very, very tricky question. Now, I would say it in line to how the little understanding I have about the English media. The English media can be very biased to some certain teams and some certain players. Now, I don't want to pick the players, but in the case of Ramsdale is a big goalkeeper. Literally, in fact, in my own opinion, I don't see Ramsdale and David Raya being in the same team, struggling for first and second spot because they are as good as they are. Now, for the media not to be talking, condemning him for the national team, you realize who are the media guys, most of the media guys, who do they support? They still support the national team. It's still the same Three Lions that they support. So I think they will just retract a little. But this is also dependent on the kind of player. I don't know why they are not talking so much on Ramsdale's case or talking so much on Calvin Phillips' case. But the English media, they are unpredictable. It's whatever they feel will fly, will fly. Whatever they feel will sell, will sell. If they see that this player cannot sell them what they are looking for, they will just keep their mouth shut. But when they see this player can sell what the narrative they are trying to sell, they just wake up and do as it pleases them. So regarding the English media, I literally can't say nothing. I can't say what triggers them. I can't say what turns them off. I can't say nothing about them. Why? Because it's the English media. Their strength is in the press.
Yeah,
now,
okay.
Going back to Calvin Phillips. Calvin Phillips, actually, I listened to.
Yeah, continue.
Talking about Calvin Phillips, I listened to Pep Guardiola talk about Calvin Phillips going on loan, but he refused. He turned down going on loan because he said he just had a baby and he would like to remain in Manchester with them. I think that's the excuse. So for footballing reasons, he chose to remain in for family reasons, he chose to remain in Manchester. But for footballing reasons, I don't know, because he literally is not replacing nobody in that sense. Let's not forget he was injured all through last season. So coming back,
for me, I
don't know. I've not seen the impact he's going to make. I only saw him at least.
Because even Kovacic started.
Yeah,
Kovacic
but he's not getting
ahead
it
of
now.
him yesterday against Wolves. Kovacic started.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know. For footballers, I don't know. I can remember. Well, that now boils down to what the manager actually wants. If he feels the player is not that good enough to start, then he's going to bench. I can remember before they bought this Nunes guy that came from Wolves. to Manchester City, I could remember Pep Guardiola saying he's exactly what he wants. He's a good player. This is that, is that, is that. But after
He
he
came
watched the
out
guy
to
play one
say
or two games,
the
or
guy
after
is
he
not
coached the guy after 2
intelligent.
games, he said something. He said something else. Sure, you understand. So he said something else. So I don't know. I think it boils down to the manager seeing the impact he feels the player can make in the team. But for Calvin Phillips, in my opinion, he should better look for another team
So your
that
take
will
is
give
no
him game
Rodri, no
time
City.
and play good football. Yeah, I'm game on that. You know what Rodri? You know the influence Rodri has actually in that Manchester City team. That guy is a stone. And the good thing about Rodri is his understanding of football. Not just understanding of football. He understands what the manager wants him to deliver. So he plays to the book. So that is what makes him exceptional. Then a little talent which is added to it and that. But truthfully, no Rodri, no party. As it's going, no, the next game they will still suffer it, except something exceptional happens in that game. Other than that, they would struggle. If you watch the game actually, you realize that their major problem was in the midfield. That was where they had the headache. And let's not forget that Guardiola's best football is played in midfield. If he has the midfield, he has the game. So since he doesn't have a Rodri, as Dipo said, no Rodri, no City. Presently,
Okay, so let me
I'm on
just
that
turn to
too as
you
well.
on this Rodri, no City. Before we just talk on the last topic, on the third topic, because of our time. Wow, time is fast spent. Will Arsenal be licking their lips right now, looking at no, because it seems as if no Rodri, no City, and Man City goes to the Emirates next weekend in a. It's going to be a cracker. And should Arsenal be licking their lips? Because Arsenal still has one hurdle to cross, which is against Lens, RC Lens in the Champions League. Hoping the players go there and come back on scuff. Should they be licking their lips, saying this is an opportunity to play Man City?
There's no doubt about it. Take a look at the table right now. I think Arsenal is 3 points behind Manchester City. They'll want to try and close
Is it
that
3 points
gap.
or 1 point?
Potentially, um,
I think it's 1 point.
I'm not sure. I think it's either 3 or 1, right?
Okay, I'll
So
check that.
definitely they should be licking their lips and they will want to get in victory.
It's 1 point.
At
Man City is 18.
just
Yeah,
1
1
point.
point.
Spurs
So,
and Arsenal
so
1 point.
definitely, yeah. So definitely they want to try and get a victory. You know, I've loved the angle of analysis coming from Dipo and Chimamanda. Brilliant from both of them. And for me, I would say that I would want to start with the name Calvin Phillips. Now, Calvin Phillips is someone who played under Marcelo Bielsa. Marcelo Bielsa's system of football is like a combination of tiki-taka and gang pressing. Very, very weird. They pass the ball very fast. But then you see the way the players are. They are always running. They're always pressing. And then you are left alone in the midfield, right? Calvin Phillips did this for 3 to 4 years under Marcelo Bielsa. He then went into the English team even before he made his Premier League debut. And Calvin Phillips was one of England's best players during the Euro 2020 tournament because of that position he plays. Right. Now, going into joining Manchester City, his first season, quite all right. He got injured very early. So it was difficult for him to get back into the groove of things. Now, going back to last season, which was his second season, before the World Cup, he only played 4 minutes of football, but still made the England national team because of his track record, right? Now, he came back from the World Cup. We saw the way Manchester City was playing. Obviously, it would be difficult for him to dispossess Rodri in that team. But nevertheless, when Man City had, on paper, less threatful games, he still didn't start for them, and that's a concern for me. So I personally feel like Calvin Phillips is not doing enough to show Pep that he deserves to start. When he came back from the World Cup, which he did not even play any minute of, Pep said he came back overweight. So I'm wondering, how do you go for a World Cup camp and you come back overweight? It's not making any sense to me. So I think there's something going on there. Now Rodri has been suspended for a couple of games. You expect Calvin Phillips Newcastle, but you mentioned something. You said you don't know if Calvin Phillips would have started if Rodri was available. He wasn't going to start. I'm very sure about that because Newcastle is not a team that Pep Guardiola is going to take lightly. So it's up to Calvin Phillips to show that he has what it takes to step into the team. If John Stones was fit, Calvin Phillips is warming that bench. I promise you that. Because John Stones is the next player after Rodri that can possibly mirror what Rodri gives to that team. Dikpo was spot on. As far as I'm concerned, it was Rodri for me, for Man City last season. If Rodri wasn't playing the way Rodri was playing, Gundogan would not have that freedom to do damage in the final third.
Yeah.
It's that simple. Look at KDB last season. KDB was playing like a senior man last season. I need to use that word, senior man, because he was so comfortable, because the players behind him were grafting. Rodri is an animal.
Yeah, he has security behind him.
Absolute animal. Because his passing ability, and do you know what Rodri improved on last season? It was goals.
Yeah, scored
It
a
was
couple.
goals that he
Yeah,
improved on.
scored a
And
couple.
he's so and now he's so confident in front of goal. He can take shots from outside. He's a threat in the box. The boy is an animal. So yes, no City. I mean, no Rodri, no City. It's as simple as that. And trust me, I'll be so disappointed if Arsenal cannot nick a win. I'm praying and hoping that John Stones does not come back from his back injury. I pray he doesn't play, because when John Stones plays, trust me, he can do well in that position. I am very sure. So it's up to Arsenal. Look, if they want to win the league, this is a game that you need to kill and nip in the bud, because the Premier League game against Man City, to be honest, the two Premier League games against Man City, and even going back to 2 seasons before, I hate to say it, but Arsenal could have gotten 3 points from those games, but probably due to lack of experience, and I think probably I would say confidence in some of those games, Arsenal could not lead victories in those ones. So as far as I'm concerned, they have no excuse. Yes, they've got a midweek. I think it's going to be a tough one against Lens. Lens is a very good French team. They played so well last season under their coach. Coming into this season, they added more fire. They signed this young El Yawahi, who Chelsea was even cutting. I love the boy. He's a top striker as far as I'm concerned. So look, they've got players who can do that. But look, if you want to play if you want to be in the league of the big boys, this is what you need to do. Man City is also going to be playing the midweek game, so there's no excuse for me. You've got enough players. Just like Gibson said, it's a squad that has depth that will be tinkering. Arteta could afford to tinker at the start of the season, and I think he also did that. He was also benching Gabriel to let him know that, look, if you don't step up and act right all the time, you will be benched, because there are other players that can get into the game. One thing that Kiwa would always have over Gabriel is composure. Composure was just one thing that Gabriel lacked, and I think that's what Arteta was trying to push it to him. Because if you see Gabriel Magalhaes back into the Arsenal team now, he now has a certain level of composure that I can say is almost comparable to the likes of Saliba and Kiwa. So definitely, no Rodri, no City. It's up to Arsenal. If their head is correct, they need to go and get 3 points. It's